Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ready Grow. Ready Grow is a unique collaborative effort bringing together Noggin from Nick Jr., AppleTree Institute for Education Innovation, and Sparkler Learning. We have created a blended early learning model, which is mobile, it's interactive, and adaptive. But before we begin and let you in on all the fun, let's introduce you to the speakers.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chavaughn Brown. I'm Chief of Research and Innovation at AppleTree Institute for Education Innovation, where I oversee Every Child Ready, AppleTree's comprehensive instructional model, and unique collaborations and innovative partnerships like the one we're going to share today. Natasha?
Yes, and I am Natasha Parrilla. I'm the Director of Communications and Early Learning Initiatives at the AppleTree Institute for Education Innovation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kirsten Zimmerman. I'm the Senior Director of Learning and Impact for Noggin, and I will introduce you to Julia.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julia Levy, and I lead Sparkler Learning, and I'm so happy to be here with you all today.
Great. To give a little context to who's in the room, we'd like you to either participate in our chat or a poll. I'm not sure if that poll is up as of yet. If not, we have a chat. So we want you to, we want to know where, oh, we do have the poll. Okay, great. We want to know where you're from, what is your primary sector of education, and what age group do you work with? And while we're looking at all of those wonderful things, Chavaughn will be letting us know who's in the room.
All right, so I'm anxiously awaiting responses here.
Oh, this is awesome, seeing it all go in real time like this.
All right, Jack McCarthy is here from AppleTree.
Okay.
Jack is our president and CEO. Welcome, Jack.
Welcome, Jack. We must say hello to our president and CEO. Yes.
Thank you for coming.
I'm not seeing much engagement in the quiz, so if there's no objection, what I may do now is end that, and folks can continue to engage in the chat with their information about where they're from and the ages that they serve in the sector of education.
Okay.
Hoping that this comes back. There it is. Great.
There it is.
Thanks. Okay, so now we are going to talk about reimagining recovery. As COVID-19 and justice for racial inequities happened, AppleTree, a school and an institute for 3 through 4-year-old children, and curriculum development, professional learning, assessment, and evaluation. We found that more than 80% of our families were having challenges with remote learning. We took immediate action to continue delivering high quality education. We created educational materials for homes, which we call Every Child Ready at Home. We provided that through paper and then also concretely, and then also online. We launched the Every Child Ready website with materials that aligned with our curriculum. And we also hosted online synchronous classes with mission-driven urgency. However, by the second week of distance learning, only 50% of our preschoolers were attending online classes. Families lack technology, access to online instruction, often reliable internet connections was also a challenge. Many of our parents were essential workers, which made them unavailable to consistently support home learning. Parents were available. Those parents who were available were overwhelmed. Families were experiencing challenges of income, food, housing insecurity, and increased levels of trauma and stress. And then we really want to tell you a little bit about the communities that we serve. We serve Washington, D.C., New York, and Texas. But I'm going to tell you a little bit, and through those communities, we serve over 3,500 children. But in Washington, D.C., we have 11 schools. They're located in Ward 7 and 8 of Washington, D.C., and over 95% of those students are Black, which reflects the demographic of the neighborhoods that our schools are in. We also, our network for our student population is over 93% minority, with a vast majority being Black or African American. Oh, and I'm sorry. And as we move toward planning for the 2020-21 school year, we wanted to do more support for our families and promote ongoing learning.
Thank you, Natasha. I was like, I'll wait for it. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And as Natasha said, we really very quickly and humbly learned that we needed to do more. And so we came together with Noggin, the early learning arm of Nick Jr., which you'll learn more about in just a minute, and Sparkler Learning. You'll also learn more about Sparkler, an app that promotes play-based learning and family engagement over summer 2020 to devise a new collaboration, which we've named Ready Grow, which we're talking about today. So Ready Grow is a mobile, interactive, and adaptive hybrid learning model that leverages technology and quality children's media to meet the rapidly evolving needs of children, family, and educators disrupted by COVID-19. As a hybrid model, it combines different modes of learning and sources of impact: traditional learning on screen, independent play by children, and parent-led off-screen co-play, which is really fun and engaging. These modes are designed to spark deeper student engagement and really fuel learning, whether children are in classrooms, at home, or in a blend of the two. And we know that with our network, it really does vary quite a bit by geography. Overall, we really do think that the elements, when combined intentionally, the whole will have a greater positive impact than the sum of the parts. But we also really want to spend some time kind of digging into what all of this means and how we've been able to bring together this unique collaboration and partnership. So I'll briefly chat a little bit about AppleTree's high quality, Every Child Ready instructional model. So Every Child Ready, or ECR, supports children's development across a variety of early learning domains, including language, science, technology, engineering, math, and social emotional learning. Each month of our 10-month curriculum includes a theme and essential standards that are differentiated for 3- and 4-year-olds. And this is a piece that makes Every Child Ready really unique, because there's not much out there right now in the field that is specifically designed to differentiate learning for 3- and 4-year-olds. And this is the piece that we really are quite proud of, and we think there's a lot of innovation with our collaboration, because the Every Child Ready framework really does guide the Noggin and Sparkler content creation process, so that all rich media and home activities are linked to what students are being taught, either in their synchronous, asynchronous, or kind of a blended in-person learning environment. Julia?
Hi. So Sparkler is an evidence-based platform that works with organizations to spark healthy early childhood development. There are 3 pieces at the core of the experience. First, content for parents and caregivers that helps them to support their children's learning and development. And all of our content is standards aligned and age appropriate. Second, tools that help families to keep track of what they've accomplished together with their children. And third, robust 2-way messaging tools to coach and support parents and caregivers to help their children learn through play. And everything in Sparkler is available for iOS and Android in English and Spanish. And as we'll discuss later, we're creating a lot of custom content as part of this collaboration that makes it an innovation that we're here to discuss today. Here. How do I go? Oh, there it goes.
Good, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Kirsten. It's lovely to see you all, or not really see you, but I know you're there listening, so thank you. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have the opportunity to talk about this partnership. I'm going to introduce Noggin to all of you. Some of you may be familiar with Nickelodeon or Nick Jr. and some of our beloved characters and properties for young children. Noggin, however, is Nick Jr.'s early learning arm or early learning platform. It is traditionally a subscription model, direct to consumer. We have been offering it free to the AppleTree families during this partnership, as well as to some other schools and organizations in the COVID era in our Noggin Cares initiative. We serve millions of children across the globe. I think we're actually approaching 3 million now across multiple platforms. And our sweet spot is really focusing on preschoolers, ages 2 to 6. We have really wonderful, deep engagement. Our characters obviously play a big role in that. But the pivot that Noggin is taking is really towards a learning-led platform and really kind of leveraging the beloved characters that we have to inspire learning and curiosity and growth and development in young children. And so you can see there about our goal of children playing and learning with characters they love, and then the parents, of course, learning with the children that they love. And oh, thank you. I was just about to click. So I wanted to take a moment to just highlight this really wonderful alignment between Noggin's approach to learning and AppleTree's approach to learning with the Every Child Ready curriculum. And it's really part of what's made this partnership so strong and successful in my mind, is just how well aligned we are with our approaches to learning and how we think about growth and development for young children. So up around the top of that slide, you can see some icons, hearts, minds, bodies. That's really what we're looking to influence, the overall comprehensive growth of children. And the way that we do that on the bottom of the slide is through skills, knowledge, and passions. So our skills, the skills that Noggin approaches through our learning framework are aligned almost identically with Every Child Ready's curriculum in terms of math and literacy and social emotional, all those really key foundational skills. The knowledge piece is also something that we sync up very nicely on. Every Child Ready has themes that are monthly or according to their units. And that's something that we also have been really starting to develop purposefully at Noggin to really look at background knowledge and inspire curiosity and vocabulary growth. So we really know that that combination of skills and knowledge that you see both in Noggin and AppleTree is a really smart equation. And then, of course, passions. We all care about what interests kids, because we know if they care about it, if they're interested in it, they'll want to learn, and that will just motivate them and drive their learning forward. So let me just click, thank you. So now we've had a brief introduction to AppleTree and to their curriculum and to Sparkler and to Noggin. So we have these three wonderful partners and their individual collaborations, and now we'd like to sum them all together and show how they work in partnership. Thank you, Chavaughn. So the first thing that I will mention is what is referred to as the Ready Grow Hub, or the Noggin Hub. So for those of you that are familiar with the Noggin app, a hub is really just a word that we use for an area, a location within Noggin that holds content. So what we did as part of this partnership is to create a new one, and it is the Ready Grow Hub. And this is specifically inspired by this partnership, this collaboration with AppleTree. It is available to all customers who use Noggin, but it is intentionally designed to align with this initiative and with the Every Child Ready curriculum. So you'll see there over on the right a list of kind of some of the content types that we see in the Ready Grow Hub. So games, interactive videos. That means you could think of like a video, even an episode that a child might see, but it's been transformed into an interactive moment where they're actually really participating and responding and engaging with the content. More linear videos where it's watching. These might be music videos. We have a lot of songs, a lot of music on Noggin. A real emphasis on boosting vocabulary and throughout our Noggin content, and then of course ebooks. So this is a range of the kind of content that you will see in the Ready Grow Hub. But the most important thing to know about it is that it's aligned to the units, the Every Child Ready units, both from the skills side as well as the theme or the thematic knowledge side. Right now, I think we're in an arts theme, and I'm forgetting the full title, but I know it has palette in it. So, World of Palette, thank you. And so if you were to go to the Ready Grow Hub in Noggin, you will see a bunch of specifically, specially curated content on the theme of arts, and also in alignment to the particular math, literacy, and social emotional skills that Every Child Ready is covering during that unit. And now I think I'll turn it back over to Natasha or Julia?
Julia. Hi. Hi, everybody. So in Sparkler, we are creating custom do together activities for Ready Grow to extend the learning beyond the classroom and off the screen. So in the building and construction unit, which we just concluded, but it's still live in the app, children can learn about construction from their teachers, and then they can play an art lab activity with Rubble, the construction pup in Noggin. And then parents and children can use Sparkler to imagine what they might find underground if they excavated with Rubble before building a building together. So it's just a, so once families play using Sparkler, they can take a picture and they can tap "We did it" to keep track of what they accomplished together and to share their child's achievements directly with their teacher, who can send observations and feedback using our coaching platform. For each unit, we're creating 20 to 25 curriculum-aligned activities that also line up with the content that Kirsten just outlined from Noggin. And these activities help parents and caregivers build their children's all of the skills, the hearts, the minds, the bodies, the words. And we're also posting read-alouds and science lessons taught by AppleTree teachers that families can explore together inside of the app. So now, thank you. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how it works in practice. So AppleTree teachers can layer ReadyGrow virtual resources onto what they do to complement and reinforce classroom learning. So a teacher might teach a lesson about happiness as the feeling of the day, and then she could ask children to play a Paw Patrol Feeling Faces game in the Noggin app, and ask parents or caregivers to play a Sparkler Feeling Charades game with their children to extend the learning. So it's really a full network of support that reinforces learning in different modes throughout the day. This is a picture of a special map that we're creating each month that shows families how everything comes together and how they can find fun learning games and activities to reinforce what teachers are teaching children throughout the school day. And now I am going to turn it back over to Natasha, who's going to give you the real highlight of this whole presentation, which is pictures of cute kids.
Yeah. So this is a snapshot of our children playing in with the ReadyGrow app and just their activities. So you can just see how we have the parent involvement. You see children with the little blue clues, and this child is just really proud of what they've accomplished. And then my personal favorite is the young child with the number 3 fingers. There is just adorable. But we also talked with families and found that they really enjoyed the learning activities. Julia talked previously about the feature on Sparkler with the read aloud. And I remember a conversation with a parent where she said that feature gave her the opportunity to put her kids to bed while they listened to the stories. And it was really important for her because she had twins. And there was, as a parent, there's a lot going on when you're trying to get your little ones, especially 2, in bed. And that was just something that was really helpful and calming. And she enjoyed that feature. We also we had another parent who liked how the lessons were aligned to the Every Child Ready curriculum, and how teachers talked about the ReadyGrow app along with the lessons, and how they could reach those assignments through the ReadyGrow feature on Noggin. And then we also addressed the digital divide with limited resources. AppleTree provided free iPads to the communities and the children that we served.
I had to unmute myself there. What I'd love to do right now is dig in a little bit more to a distinct pleasure that I have as Chief of Research and Innovation at AppleTree Institute, where I only focus on 3- and 4-year-olds and preparing them for kindergarten. But I think a real opportunity here is that this innovation is for a population who had a lot thrown at them in the beginning of all of this. And teachers, families, principals, leaders, everyone was having a really difficult time kind of sifting through quality versus the noise, really, because there was just so many solutions that were, I always say, kind of like from an ed tech perspective, heavy on tech and kind of like a lowercase ed offering. So we are just thrilled because the ReadyGrow collaboration has really brought high quality children's media that had otherwise been disconnected back into this realm of early learning, and really elevated and empowered parents and families in a way with Sparkler Learning that they didn't have before. And parents and families were saying, I have an hour, what should I be doing? Because I'm working, my child's learning at home. How do I tie this into what the teacher is delivering over Zoom or Google Classroom? So this Ready Grow collaboration, although it might feel like, and Kirsten and Julia know how many hours go into aligning the content, it's not just an app, it really is something that I think is really innovative. It's not been done before. It's just for 3 and 4-year-olds, and it's bringing together all of these pieces that we know or we've heard from our families are so important to tie together to maximize learning and hope to minimize the learning gaps that are going to persist after this pandemic and incredible year that we've all had. But I also want to mention that we know that we still have a lot to learn, and because this is one of the first collaborations of this nature across these 3 different partners, we have a really robust research agenda that we've kind of built around our implementation plan, which includes a third-party assessment of early learning knowledge and skills, but it also implements a rapid cycle research agenda so that when this is fully imagined, we would be able to really support this and dial up what's working well and dial down what wasn't as effective post-COVID. So we really see this as a solution that we can offer to our Every Child Ready partners, even when we return to the in-person offering of early learning. And I'll share with everyone that from an Every Child Ready perspective, and I think Kathleen, you might have kind of alluded to this in the chat around developmentally appropriate practice with technology and screen time. Admittedly, this, technology was not something that we had prioritized in 3 and 4-year-old classrooms, but we were learning from kindergarten partners and other folks where our children were graduating into these rooms that they really did expect children to be able to navigate technology, and even state review adoption boards are expecting to see a bit of developmentally appropriate technology as a part of an instructional model. So for us, we see this as an incredible need right now, but we're really approaching it as a year of learning so that next year, once we're able to apply our research findings and really learn from what our implementation is resulting in this year, we'll be able to replicate and make sure that 3 and 4-year-olds have access to all things high quality next year in person or blended or whatever it is. But we'll have a much better understanding of what's working best for teachers, families, and children across all 3 of these platforms and really have a cohesive solution for everybody. So I know we don't have a huge crowd right now, but I would love still to hear from folks in the audience, what are you doing right now to help the pre-K population in your state, city, school, whoever you're serving? I'm really curious what other innovations are out there. And is it designed specifically for 3 and 4-year-olds, or is it something that you all have been trying to fit into that demographic to meet their needs? So I'll provide some wait time as best practice. All right, so I'm not seeing much by way of response, but Kathleen, the former managing editor of Education Week, working with education orgs on strategic communications, is interested and has a couple different questions that, if it's okay, I'll voice over and our panel can address. So Kathleen says she's interested in how we ensure that kids have opportunities to stay on track with their learning and development when school is disrupted. Also, how we can ensure screen time is productive and developmentally appropriate. So Kathleen, I'll kind of kick off a response to this briefly, and then I would kick it to Kirsten and Natasha and Julia. But something that we had to do as an instructional model provider was really distill down what are the core essential standards that if children didn't learn anything else this year, what we really thought was most important for them to learn. And so once we had that kind of the core essential piece figured out, we were able to build off of that to support that learning. Julia and Kirsten or Natasha, does anyone like to speak to the screen time and developmentally appropriate practice?
Sure. I mean, I'll go first, and then you can, Julia. Yeah, you know, that's always a question and a concern. The amount of screen time and the quality of screen time. I will say that from the Noggin perspective, as we have been transitioning the recent years into a learning-led, learning-focused platform. In terms of the development of all of our media, all of our games, our videos, our songs, our music, all of it is developed according to established research-based learning framework with learning and child development experts on such as myself and my team, for this very reason, for this purpose, to ensure that it is developmentally appropriate. It is well researched with children, informative research throughout the development process, and really examined very, very slowly and carefully during development. That said, we always view high quality educational media as a supplement and an enhancement to other things, whether it be what's going on in the home and what the family is doing together, or whether it be a curriculum in a school. It's always there to supplement and to enhance and to further learning and further engagement. And that's really always our positioning around that question.
Kirsten, I'm thinking about what I've heard Michael Levine say, which is the technology piece isn't the final destination. It's the vehicle to enhance that early learning opportunity, which I think Noggin stands by, but is enhanced also by the off-screen co-play activities of Sparkler Learning that link back to Every Child Ready. Julia, did you want to speak to any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't have much to add because you gave such good answers, but first of all, I think all of us coming together has really enhanced each part of the collaboration. So it's not that children are just playing a great high quality game on Noggin. It's sort of directly linked with what their teachers are teaching them about. So they might be working on, if they're doing building and construction, they're learning these words from their teacher, and then they see the same words like architect or beam or any of these other great words that preschoolers might typically not get to explore on Noggin. And then on Sparkler, which is parent facing, it's not screen time for children, they can continue playing with these same concepts and skills together with their grown-ups. And so I think the combination makes this much more of like a lean-in type of experience, an active experience, than what we typically think of when we think of screen time for children. Not to say that we're creating a new thing here. Like it's still children are looking at a screen. What they're doing with their eyes and what they're thinking about is hopefully different and more connected with learning, which is sort of one of our hypotheses here. So one of the things we're trying to measure through the research project that Chavaughn described, and we'll learn. Like we'll be able to connect the dots and see how much, what are children actually learning? I mean, the smart people at AppleTree are measuring that through their understanding and other measures in the classroom. And we'll be able to see how much time did that particular kid spend with Noggin, and how did the family explore Sparkler. So we'll be able to understand this year what's actually happening, which I think is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, and I want to second that really important point about the lean in and lean out difference. The bulk of the media content that is part of the Ready Grow is interactive content. So children are actively engaging, they are participating, they are responding, they are doing something on the screen. They are not passively watching a TV episode. So it really is a different type of educational media that we have incorporated into this partnership and into the Ready Grow Hub. The other interesting thing about it, and something that we do at Noggin, is that given that it's technology, one of the pluses of technology is data analytics, learning analytics. So we can actually monitor progress and growth and performance and how children are doing. So if there are several activities around specific math skills, which there are, we can actually look and see, are they learning, are they growing, are they understanding the content by watching the data analytics that come in on the back end. And that's real-time live data that we have access to immediately to see how an individual child or a cohort, a group of children are doing, and then make decisions accordingly, and have them be data-driven decisions.
Yeah, thanks,
Kirsten, for bringing that up, because just talking with parents and what have you, it is interactive. It's interactive learning activities. It is it's integrated in our curriculum, and we are in a place now where a lot of learning has to happen virtually, and this has given us an opportunity to still provide that type of learning, and then also to monitor it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to bring in families to this discussion. I think as an educator of 3 and 4-year-olds, we always talk about how families are such a critical piece of the early learning experience. But this whole year really is requiring us to prove that. How do you know? How are you supporting families? Mm-hmm. I'll share that Every Child Ready, the main user was teachers, and teachers accessing the content. And we had supplemental information going home to families so that they were a part of it, but they weren't in it with teaching the essential standards to their children every day like they are now. And so something that I think is really important just to name is that this year of learning is really going to highlight what's possible and to really elevate families and their position and their knowledge and how their child learns best. I think this year is going to really teach us some really humbling lessons as an instructional model provider that we need to do better, and we need to meet families and teachers where they are to support their 3 and 4-year-olds. So what makes me excited about this opportunity is that there's just so much possibility that will come out of this. Mm-hmm. It's a solution right now, but it's ultimately going to be a solution that we can implement moving forward across 3 high-performing, high-quality early learning innovators. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to bring it all together.
Yeah, me too.
Kathleen has a question in here, which is a bit of a hot topic. It's training and how much time it takes to, I think, Kathleen, you mentioned training and support families and parents, but I would say and name that a whole piece of this has also been training teachers. So Natasha, you've spoken directly to families about these tools and the innovations. What was something that was the most frequent concern, or what was going well, what was effective? Can you share anything from your insights with family interviews?
Yeah, I think what was most effective was how they really appreciated that it was connected to our instructional approach or framework. They were familiar with our curriculum, and to see that into something as popular as Noggin, Blue's Clues, and Paw Patrol, that really engaged their children. As far as the train, so most of our parents are in technology, tech savvy, I guess I should call it. So there wasn't an issue, I don't think, about the training really had to go into how do you get on, how do you sign up, how do you get on, and then finding the Ready Grow app. That only took a few steps, with teachers providing those types of resources for our parents. One parent told me that their 4-year-old showed them how to do it.
Well, right.
Interesting. Yeah. And even with Sparkler as well, parents really appreciated that, receiving the tips and whatnot of learning activities that they could continue with their child. It was just and that was pretty much some of the experiences that I heard.
Mm-hmm. And we did develop initial training materials. So there were, and Julia, you may want to speak to that more, but there were materials developed in English and in Spanish, just for the beginning, kind of getting up to speed on everything, because we recognized it was, a lot being thrown at families, a lot of different platforms. I think they're all very intuitive, but it is a lot to combine them together, and the expectations were high. So we did have training materials prepared for them. And
yeah, we made in case it's interesting to anybody, we had handouts in English and Spanish, as Kirsten said. We also had a video sort of tutorial on how to get started, one for teachers and one for families. And as I think would not surprise anybody who's listening, there's been some hiccups along the way. It's not really easy to introduce something brand new to a big group of people who has a lot on their plates. So I think that, one of the things we've learned is just timing matters. So the start of this, we launched all of the content at the very beginning of the school year, at the end of August. But we weren't able to. AppleTree generously gave all of its families iPads where they could access these apps and other apps, and those weren't available until a little bit later because of global supply chain issues. And I think that made it a little harder to sort of get off the ground. And so we did a lot of sort of individual outreach to schools and through teachers. And then we ended up helping out, doing more sort of hand-holding to help the people who are struggling to get in so that we could move from the sign-up phase into the engagement phase. And I'm sure that if we get to year 2, which hopefully we will, we could do a better job with the initial rollout. But I do think it's been, we've learned a lot and certainly it's worked well.
Of course, I have a transition happening over here, right? When I wanted to add something to that, but I just wanted to share. Close the door. Good. That I think something that we've learned at AppleTree is that our second-year teachers, or even a teacher resident who's graduated to her or his next year, they do a really good job of finding ways to differentiate and make every single interaction the best it can be. And I think this opportunity, if I were to kind of imagine out loud what it could be for families, it's just that. It's bringing families into this intentional but very natural flow of learning, so that even if you're just in the car going to the market for curbside pickup, or maybe you're on a nature walk. I spend a lot of time in the woods with my boys on the weekends. I know exactly how to build on the conversation to relate to what they're learning in school, because I have my phone, and which Julia, but Sparkler Learning, sent me a text saying, hey, when you're out today, talk to your child about what their favorite fill in the blank is, and really use that to build conversation. So I think this year is baby steps. It's a little bit tricky to have that approach when, as Kirsten mentioned, Noggin has over 3 million users. We've launched this to our whole network for free. National Head Start Association is like, yes, we want to do it. We have over 80 centers serving over 10,000 children who expressed initial interest, but it's how you bring it in so it's a natural piece for families that I think is something that I'm really excited to build on for years to come, because we know it takes time with teachers. Obviously, it's going to take time with families, but it's kind of being patient and just kind of making sure that you're a part of that learning process along the way. So,
I see this question, this comment in the chat from Candace, who says that the state education department has created its own TV show, which I'm really fascinated in. I'm not sure. Is it possible to go to turn on your volume and tell us a little bit more about that and how it's working?
Public broadcast. That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh.
Ask her to please raise her hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there a way to raise your hand? Maybe not.
I don't know. How do we?
How one raises one's hand.
Because I'd love for her to be able to share with us, to turn her mic on and share with us. If we click under participants, does that? Wait, there she is. Is Candace Taylor? Is that her name?
Oh, you have your hand raised. Yes.
Yes, hand raised. Okay. So wait, if I just turn on, can we turn on her?
Your screen point mod. Hi, Candace. We'd love to have you speak. If you have permissions for your camera and your microphone that you need to enable, that window should pop up for you. There we go.
Oh, good.
There's Candace.
And as well, your microphone, Candace, you might have to give that a specific permission as well, and then we can hear you.
So while Candace is doing that, I don't want to lose a second, but I do want to add that I think another thing that's really unique about this, if we're following that theory of action of every minute counts with a 3 and 4-year-old, in Washington, D.C., we have fully funded full-day pre-K. But that's not the case everywhere. And I see that we have, Mississippi here. I think we have a participant from Colorado. I'm from California. They don't have full-day pre-K. So this is also a solution if you have a half-day, full-day program, because you're able to be flexible. Every Child Ready is able to adapt if you're a half-day or a full-day, and we're able to really customize that experience regardless of the number of hours that you have with families, either in person, synchronous, or asynchronous. And Candace, I see you are online. Welcome to the chat.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Wonderful.
So I didn't know that I was going to be a TV star when I took this work on at my state. But we have a very rural state, as you can well imagine. And so internet access continues to be an issue for many, many children in our state and their families. So we thought, well, they probably have a TV. And because we're on our Mississippi Public Broadcasting, you don't even have to have cable. It's just good old public access TV. And so it is low budget, but it is very, very tightly linked with the standards that we teach for 3s and 4s in our state. And we have a particular curriculum that we've kind of aligned our episodes with. And so we are in the midst of that. I think we've taped maybe 9 episodes. And so they've been showing those. And you can also find them on YouTube. I'm scared to even tell you how to find it.
I'm going to look for sure. I want to take a look.
But if you look on MPB classrooms, and really they've done it pre-K through 12. It's not just for preschoolers, but our Office of Early Childhood did the pre-K episodes and really tried to make them age appropriate and developmentally appropriate for our kids. And if you do a search on YouTube of MPB classrooms, it's called Welcome Friends.
Welcome, friends.
I'm smiling because my boss is also on the call, president and CEO of AppleTree. And for years, he has said, we need to better leverage public, broadcasted television because families have TVs and they're able to access that media. So Candace, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think that could be an interesting way to think about this collaboration. Obviously, the Noggin bit is free. Nickelodeon or Nick Jr., there's different accessibility things there. But I'm wondering, Kirsten, we'll have to think about that, how we could bring some of this.
We absolutely should. Yeah, I love hearing this. Thank you for sharing, Candace. Are you in partnership with your public broadcasting system in Mississippi? Who's producing?
Yeah, that's who does the filming and all. We go to the studio of Mississippi Public Broadcasting and they have their own crew and it's one little set. It's really simple, but we really try to do things that are really engaging with our kids. We do arts things and music and literacy and math and just try to do a little bit of everything.
Fantastic. What is your schedule? How often are you aiming to have these episodes delivered?
So we're doing them. It's a 30-minute show, and they air them. And of course, they do repeat them a lot.
Right. Yeah.
But we've tried to do 3 episodes for each theme of study.
Wow.
And so that gives us at least 3, a week to do. But I think they show them every day. It's 7 to 7:30 in the morning. They show them every day. We've taped, I think, 3 units worth. So I think 9 episodes, and we're doing 6 more next week or the next. Yeah.
Love that.
So do people recognize you now when you're walking around?
No, I don't go anywhere.
Right. I guess that's the point of all this. Good point.
Love it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to look it up. I'm eager to look at it.
I see Michael is in the chat.
Michael?
Wanna
Michael, any questions?
Yeah.
Everybody who doesn't know Michael Levine,
Is he here? How do you-
he's in the chat.
He's
He's
in the chat.
the one who, I mean, basically came up with, well, was instrumental in putting together this collaboration.
There
And
he is. That's great.
Yes, welcome, Michael. If you want to jump into this, let us know. You can raise a hand and we'll add you to the panel.
any other questions?
I have a follow-up question for Candace that maybe you could drop in the chat, Candace, but something that we're trying to think about really intentionally is how we're engaging with families. And so we're putting a lot of things out there into the universe and we're trying to figure out how they're landing and what families want and need. And a bit of our research study is getting at that. But I'm wondering if Mississippi, or I know we have a participant on from Colorado, has anyone else really thought of unique ways to bring in information from families other than, maybe, a phone call from a teacher, but like what innovations are there out there to bring in that info? There's Michael. Welcome, Michael. Candace, I see your comment here. You have a family engagement toolkit that was recently developed by your office that is used statewide. Okay, Candace, I think I need to connect with you maybe over email. Perhaps I'm going to show my email on a closing slide, but I would love if you wouldn't mind dropping me a note and we can connect offline. I'd love to learn more. Awesome. Welcome, Michael Levine. How was NASA?
Great. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just had a chance to speak to a few hundred space scientist types about the work that we're doing, at Noggin on STEM learning. It's so great that we have folks from different states here, and really glad to hear about Mississippi, which is a real pioneer. You must know this, Candace, in using rich educational media for early learning and early literacy development through their partnerships with Between the Lions, kind of co-production work that we did for many years in early literacy. So it's great to know that you guys are continuing to pioneer about that. Maybe there's a partnership with Mississippi.
I know. I want to look into what they've been doing. They've done some amazing stuff.
So, Michael, we've had a series of questions, but I think this is a great opportunity for you to bring in your perspective of what you think this innovation is now, but what it could be also in years to come.
Yeah. I mean, my view is that educational media that's evidence and curriculum based has not been particularly well used in preschool classrooms or even in primary school classrooms. We've talked a lot about the promise of technology in early childhood. We often talk about the limitations and the worries that we have about technology. And I think COVID has just put an exclamation point next to the need to do better with the uses of rich, media and technology. So we see this as a learning and development year. They've already grow, collaboration that AppleTree and Sparkler and Noggin are part of. And for Noggin's part, we're looking for, growth of this particular collaboration. It looks like it's beneficial to children, but also using our megaphone as a media company that has invested a ton of money in rich media forms to get other media companies, in addition to our own, to turn towards school folks to use the best and the brightest and the to date well-intentioned educational media for much more disciplined purpose. Mm-hmm. So I see this as being something that not only Noggin, but PBS and Sesame and many other media companies and media company wannabes, early startups, turning their vision towards equity, towards making sure that the COVID learning loss is not only reversed, but that moving forward, we never have to go through this situation again where the learning that's taking place in home is so spotty and so difficult to sustain.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Michael. I think Kathleen actually, she had made a comment in the chat that the kids are leading the way. And in the context of the chat, we were talking about training and bringing families and teachers up to speed with the technology. But I think the reality is kids really are leading the way and learning from child behavior and learning how they learn best and how they are engaging in activities either independently with technology, with their teachers, through co-play. They're really where we need to be focused on studying behaviors and what's effective. And I'm really excited for this year to learn all of that, because we are learning a lesson every single day, I think, around what kids are clicking on, what families are clicking on. Are they going to their synchronous or asynchronous lessons? There's just so much to learn here. But I also want to name, so earlier in the talk, I mentioned that the National Head Start Association was interested in partnering. And I know we have different folks on the chat now, or participants in the session rather, but I do want to name that we really do believe in quality for all 3 and 4-year-olds and are constantly looking for innovative partners who are looking to do something different and measure along the way and kind of have a more agile response to early education. So the next slide, we do have our contact information, but if you or you know of someone who would be interested in doing something a little bit different, a little more intentional across multiple platforms, do let us know and reach out, because we will try to meet you where you are in terms of implementation needs.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything else to add? Kirsten, Julia, Natasha?
I don't think so. It's just been such a pleasure to just have the opportunity to share and just talk about this work that we're all so passionate about. And we've been learning so much every day, like Chavaughn said. And I think we've been learning just as much as the kids.
Yeah, this has been a great experience collaborating with all of you and getting the opportunity to talk about our partnership.
Yeah, likewise, it's been wonderful working with the lovely ladies and Michael, who he's off screen now.
Yes.
And there's so many amazing talks right now at this conference. So we're so grateful to all of you who chose to listen to our spiel about Ready Grow, which we're excited about, but there's all sorts of other exciting things going on at the same time, which we understand. Yeah. So thank you to everybody who spent this time this afternoon.
Yes, many, many thanks. And please reach out. Please get in touch.
Yeah.
We'd love to meet you all.
Thanks.
I'm just looking at the chats, Chavaughn, before we go to see if there's anything else.
No, I think we've covered discussion. Candace, I'm going to Google you if you don't email me, though, because I really do want to learn more about Mississippi. So.
I'm going to go on YouTube. I want to watch this. Welcome.
Right. But thank you so much, everyone, and please.
There should be a competition among the states for the coolest ideas in this era.
Especially pre-K, right? I mean,
pre-K and super smart when there's internet access challenges, right? To use public television. So, wonderful.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We know time is precious, so we'll call it an end for now. But appreciate everyone's engagement and chats. And Candace, I got to copy this. Thank you, Candace.
Oh, there's your.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a great day.
Bye.